What's going on YouTube? It's Adam from Beyond the Grid. Welcome back to my channel for another Lightroom Mobile tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to create this look, which I've happily named the Peachy Gold. But if you close your eyes. So before we jump into this tutorial, I want to go over one thing that a couple of you guys have been messaging me on Instagram about, and that's the fact that mobile creative presets that are designed in the desktop version of Lightroom are so much more powerful than the ones you designed in the mobile app. Now that's mainly because the desktop version of Lightroom has one panel that the mobile doesn't, and that's camera calibration. So when you scroll down to the bottom here, you'll see four different tabs or four different sliders, and that's your shadows, which controls your tint, your red primary, your green primary, and your blue primary. Now let's say for a fact that you want to adjust the blue coloring in your photo, and you go up to your HSL panel, and you start adjusting your blue, that'll only target parts of the image that appear blue. Whereas if you change the blue in the camera calibration, that'll affect every pixel in your photo that contains a blue coloring. So you can adjust the overall of your photo rather than just individual colors, and that's how you can achieve that peachy gold look with even more depth to it. So let's jump in the app. I'm going to show you guys how to create this peachy gold look. Okay, so now that we are in the Lightroom app, let's get through this tutorial really quickly. So first we're going to start with our light panel. We're going to adjust our exposure. So I'm going to drop it down, even though you guys are going to think I'm crazy for lowering it. It's because we're going to enhance it a little bit later. Then our contrast, we're going to bring this up a little bit. Let's say plus 21 looks pretty good. Our highlights, we're going to drop this down. Let's say minus 36. Our shadows, we're going to bring this right up. Let's say plus 100. Then our whites, we're going to bring this down to minus 27. And our blacks, we're going to bring this up, say right about there. We're going to leave our tone curve for a second because we're going to come over to our color. We're going to adjust this. So let's bring this up and warm it up a little bit. And then our tint, we're going to bring this up, say plus 15. Our vibrancy, we're going to bring this right up to about 38. And our saturation, we're going to drop this down to 11. Then we're going to come over to our color panel, and we're going to start to adjust these guys so we can create that rose gold look. So we're going to bring up this one to, let's say, plus 5, or let's say plus 6. Bring the saturation down. Minus 49 looks pretty good. Our luminancy, let's bring that down to minus 19. Then we'll come over to our oranges. We're going to leave our hue. We're going to bring down our saturation. Then we're going to bring down our luminancy. Then we're going to come over to our yellow. We're going to drop this guy down. Minus 13. Saturation. Not so much. Let's say 17. And our luminancy, let's go to minus 10. Come over to our greens. We're going to bring up our hue. Let's say plus 10. Actually, let's go a little more. Let's go plus 16. Our saturation, bring that down. Let's say minus 38. And our luminancy, let's just knock it down just a tiny bit. Let's say minus 2 looks pretty good. Then let's go over to our aquas. So we're going to leave our hue to 0. We're going to drop our saturation down to, let's say, minus 30. Our luminancy, let's say minus 23. Then our blues, we're going to leave our hue. We're going to drop our saturation down to, let's say, minus 36. Our luminancy, let's bring that up. Not too much. Let's go to an 8. Then we're going to come over to our purples. We're going to bring up our hue just a tiny bit. Our saturation. And then our luminancy just a little bit. Then we're going to come over to our magentas. And we're going to start to adjust this one. So let's bring this up to, let's say, plus 25. Our saturation to 10. And our luminancy to 24 looks pretty good. Then we're going to come over to our effects panel. We're going to come over to our split tone. We're going to make the highlights into the warmer area. Let's go saturation, or sorry, hue. Let's go 111 area. And our saturation just a little bit, so let's say plus 5 or 6 looks pretty good. Then our shadows, we're going to raise this one over to the blues. So we're gonna go over to our 210 area, and not so much saturation, obviously. Let's say +6 looks pretty good. And then we'll balance it towards the shadows a little bit. So let's say -10 there. Then we're gonna come over to our clarity. We're gonna bring this up just a tiny bit. And that looks pretty good for that area. Come over to our details. Let's raise our sharpening. Say about 19. And our mask, let's raise that up. So again, guys, if you guys hold your screen when you guys are sliding your masking, you can actually see where it's going to affect. So that looks pretty good right there. Then we're going to come back over to our light panel. We're going to come over to our curves. And we're going to start to adjust these guys. So for this one, let's start with one there, one there, one there, and let's leave that guy. Let's raise this one up tiny bit. Let's raise this guy tiny bit, and let's bring this guy right up. It's right about there. Not so much. Right about there looks pretty good, and let's raise this one up a little bit more. Let's go over to our reds. And we're going to create one here. Drop that down quite a bit. Raise that back up to the middle. And let's raise this guy up just a little bit. Let's go over to our greens. Same thing here. Let's bring this guy down. Let's bring this guy back to the middle. And let's raise this guy up just a little bit. Now let's go to our blues and let's do the exact same thing. Let's bring you down, you to the middle, and you up a little bit. That's pretty good right there. And maybe we're going to drop this guy down a little bit. We'll raise this guy up, this guy up. That looks pretty good there. Now let's adjust our exposure just to make sure we can finalize the photo up. And let's go to, so let's raise it to about there. And then let's come back to our color because I want to add a little bit more peach to it. So let's go +30 looks pretty good there. And let's go back to our mix. And let's go to our pinks. Add a little bit more saturation there. And let's actually drop our purple down. Right about there. Get rid of that dress color, as you guys can saw that. It looks a little bit weird. Let's go over here for a second. Let's raise this guy up a little bit. That looks pretty good to me. Maybe raise this one up a little tiny bit. Let's say red saturation to 30. And that looks pretty good like that. So as you guys can see, it's pretty easy to create that peachy gold look, but I want to show you guys what I was talking about earlier about the camera calibration and how it's going to enhance your photos that much more by having mobile presets that are designed in the Lightroom desktop. So I'm going to show you guys a side-by-side of the same photo that we created today versus the same photo that I applied my mobile preset where it has the camera calibration. So as you guys can see, by applying a mobile preset that has the camera calibration, it's going to enhance your photos that much more and create that much more of a look. So if you guys want to pick up a collection that I have for sale, which is going to include the camera calibration, you guys can go ahead. It's going to be linked down below. It's going to include 8 presets that are designed to work across an array of your photos. So let's say you jump into your app and you have a photo like this, and you want to create this peachy gold look. All you have to do is scroll over to your presets, select it, scroll down to the Peachy Golds collection, and select one that you like and that looks good on the photo. Now let's say you have this photo which is different than the other one, so that same preset might not look the exact same. So you scroll over, go to presets, scroll down to your Peachy Gold, and select one of the presets that you think looks good, and it's that simple to use. So again, if you guys want to pick up that collection, it's going to include 8 presets and it's going to be linked down below. But if you guys just want to pick up the free preset, I'm going to link that down below as well. So that's really it for me. If you guys enjoyed this tutorial, make sure you guys are hitting that like button. If you guys are not a subscriber, Why aren't you? Hit that subscribe button, and until next time, take care, everybody.